Part 42. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womang. Chapter 411. Listening to Dong Jun's words, Qin Wanyu stared at her with admiration. Wow, Dong Jun is so awesome, I want to learn, I want to learn. It seems that Qin Wanyu is just like a fangirl at this moment. But actually, best friends for life? Of course I need a quilt. In Suliang's room, Wan Qing held Suliang in her arms and moved her hands up and down in various ways. Master, that's almost enough. Suliang said helplessly. At this moment, his face was covered with his master's lip marks. Although his master was indeed fragrant and soft, Suliang felt that he couldn't stand it if it continued like this. Why, do you dislike being a teacher now? Wan Qing immediately stopped and stared at the master, her eyes full of resentment. That can't be done, master, you can do whatever you want. Suliang said helplessly, and then he felt that his master's jade hand had penetrated deeply, all the way down. Master, isn't this okay? We just got off the bed and we can't continue. With a helpless sigh, Suliang fought back decisively, and then the master slowly sat down. After a long time, the movement in the room calmed down and disappeared. Wan Qing was lying on her side on the bed, with a satisfied smile on her charming face. She looked at the hopeless apprentice beside her and suddenly laughed out loud. Why, do you dislike master so much? Suliang just glanced at Wan Qing and said nothing. My master is so good, how can I dislike him? But it's not good to be too proactive. In fact, Wan Qing has been back for a few days. After all, she just had an in-depth exchange with her darling disciple, and her darling disciple is not in Tanjiali, so Wan Qing doesn't think she has any reason to stay in Tan's house. Naturally, he came back with his good disciple. And ever since she had an in-depth exchange with Suliang, Wan Qing seemed to have opened some terrible valve, and was particularly wanton with her apprentice. It is normal for yin and yang to reconcile when there is a disagreement. Wan Qing often plays with Suliang in front of Qin Benjiao and others. It is true that he is too courageous. Forget it, Wan Qing is even openly jealous. Obviously she is the last one to be with Suliang so far. After a day of life, in the afternoon, Wan Qing directly pulled Suliang into the room without saying a word. Qin Benjiao, Ying Kaoch and Qin Wanyu could see the scene clearly, but they couldn't say anything at all. Wan Qing is the biggest boss in the family. She can't beat her, but she doesn't dare to resist, so there is nothing she can do. But as soon as she entered the room, Wan Qing pushed Suliang down on the bed. With an arrogant look, Wan Qing stepped on Suliang's body with her black silk jade feet. Wan Qing's cold voice, with a bit of a sour feeling, recited Suliang's crimes today. You are staying in Benjiao's room today after 2 hours, there are actually 2 hours. After that, it's okay if you don't come to my teacher's place, but you actually go to Wanyu's place to stay for an hour. That's a full hour. But here I am, you only stayed for a few minutes and asked, have you changed your mind? Master, are you deliberately looking for trouble? Suliang felt that he was completely confused. She was his wife, so it was okay for him to go to anyone. Why did his master remember all these things clearly, and also scolded him? Did you do something wrong? Not at all. Humph, this is also a kind of cultivation. Wan Qing said seriously, only when you pay attention to trivial matters that ordinary people cannot notice can you achieve a state of mind as calm as water. I am a great teacher in this regard. Hearing this, Suliang felt bad all over. Master, how on earth can you talk about jealousy in such a fresh and refined way? Master, what exactly do you want to do? Suliang asked helplessly. He really couldn't understand his master's thoughts. It's very simple. Wan Qing's black silk jade feet exerted some force, either lightly or heavily. I only have a small request, as long as you can comply with it. What? Suliang immediately became vigilant. The small request mentioned by his master was definitely not that small. After such a long time, Suliang felt that he still knew his master very well. Oh, it only requires you to say a few words. Wan Qing suddenly walked up to the bed, leaned over and kissed Suliang's lips. She fell slowly with an inexplicable smile on her face. As for me, I just need you to say my favorite words 3 times during dinner. I like master, and now, I will never pursue anything against you again. Impossible. Suliang immediately rejected his master's request. Are you kidding me? If I really shouted, the club would be dead. When I think about having to call my favorite master in front of my girlfriend, Cao Ji, and the Queen Mother. Suliang felt that he could carve out a 3-bedroom apartment on the spot. I really have no shame in continuing to stay in this home. So, you want to refuse? After hearing Suliang's words, the smile on Wan Qing's face immediately became dangerous. Yes, this is impossible. Master, please give up. Suliang continued to refuse and was very resistant to this request. He really did not want to die at home. Really, no. Wan Qing asked again, using a little force to tighten the restraints. Feeling the oppression from all directions, Suliang immediately wanted to leave, but I can't get away at all. After Wan Qing became serious, Suliang had no room to resist, not in any sense. What else can be done? He is no match for master. What else can he do besides agreeing? The next day, Suliang slumped in a chair, his face full of despair. Last night when we were having dinner, those 3 voices sounded like I like the master the most. It was almost becoming Suliang's nightmare. God knows how much harm the strange expressions of his girlfriend at that time, His Majesty, the Queen Mother, and even Mu Qingqian and Tao Yaoyao caused to Suliang. Wan Qing, who was curled up in Suliang's arms, didn't have any bad feelings. On the contrary, she picked up the fruit next to her with a smile, stuffed it into her mouth, and then handed it forward. Suliang opened his mouth numbly, kissed him gently, and took away the fruit. Hey, good disciple, is it delicious? Wan Qing asked with a smile. Delicious. Suliang's dull answer. All this, Jing Meng, who was watching from the side, was very puzzled. She found that after returning this time, her best friend seemed to be a completely different person. Specifically, whenever I see her, she is hugging Suliang, looking sweet. Sister Wanking, what's so good about 2 people hugging each other? Jingmeng asked with some confusion. She had never had this kind of experience before, so naturally she couldn't understand the beauty of it. Is it really comfortable? In this case, it is tantamount to a public execution. How cute is my best friend? Can I say this in front of everyone? And you are not much younger than me, but you can still ask such a question? For a moment, Wan Qing looked at her best friend and felt very helpless. She knows her best friend best. Wan Qing knows very well that Jingmeng doesn't know how to love at all. From childhood to adulthood, even until she was abducted by him and traveled around the world, his best friend had always resisted feelings. Although he has cultivated the ruthless path, it is not much better. At least, she now only has one apprentice by her side, whom she raises like a daughter. Wait until Wan Qing and Jingmeng arrive later. Meng, you don't understand about love. Wan Qing said helplessly to her best friend, actually, it is very wrong for you to resist feelings and devote yourself to cultivation like you do. If you continue like this, your swordsmanship will definitely not be able to reach its peak. But as soon as he finished speaking, Jingmeng, who had always looked naturally stupid, suddenly changed his aura. The cute feeling disappeared in an instant, and a fierce and serious aura suddenly appeared on Jingmeng, confronting Wanking tit for tat. As a sword cultivator, Jingmeng is very confident in matters concerning the sword, and does not allow anyone to comment, even if this person is the eldest sister. Sister, other things don't matter, except in the way of swordsmanship, Jingmeng doesn't allow others to comment. Jingmeng's voice was slightly serious. Sister Tou's swordsmanship is not as good as mine, so please don't say more. If it were someone else, even if she had this idea in her heart, she would not say it outright. But Jingmeng was different. She had no such concerns at all. Wan Qing also understood the character of her best friend, so she didn't feel angry at all. With a chuckle, Wan Qing stood up and said, "You don't believe what I said? How about we verify it?" "How to verify?" Jingmeng asked rhetorically. "It's very simple, just let the two of us fight." Wan Qing said with a smile, "I represent affection, and you represent ruthlessness. Since you think your swordsmanship is fine, just use your strongest swordsmanship to defeat me. What do you think?" Without any hesitation, Jingmeng immediately agreed, "Okay." Jingmeng has absolute confidence in the way of swordsmanship. So, the two people immediately walked outside the door, each took a stance, and prepared to take action. "Sister Wanqing, you have to be careful, this is my strongest sword," Jingmeng said calmly, and as her words fell, an aura like a sword edge appeared around her. Immediately, her jade feet left the ground, her hair was flying, Jingmeng slowly floated, her jade hands were suspended above her proud peak. Base. A crisp sword cry sounded, and the next moment, a sword hilt slowly emerged from the proud peak. Jingmeng pulled it out and slashed it out with a sword. At this moment, milky sword reappeared. Moment. A bright sword light shot out vertically and horizontally, heading straight towards Wan Qing. The sword intention soared into the sky, penetrating the sky and the earth, and was extremely sharp. As a best friend, Jingmeng naturally understood the strength of her eldest sister, so from the very beginning, she used the strongest killing move and did not hold back at all. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womeng. Chapter 412. She knew that her sword would never cause any danger to her eldest sister. Facing the dreamy milk-flavored sword, Wan Qing showed a slight smile. "Meng Meng, since you were the first to use this trick, don't blame me." Immediately afterwards, Wan Qing struck the killer painfully, one move after another, like rolling waves, which made Jingmeng tired of dealing with it, and in an instant, he was at a disadvantage. And at the same time, Sul Yang, who was finally able to enjoy a moment of peace alone in the room, was suddenly stunned. What's going on? Who is fighting outside? Moreover, looking at this posture, it seems that the person fighting is extremely powerful. Sul Yang hurriedly got up and went out to check, but as soon as he opened the door, he bumped into a beautiful figure. Immediately afterwards, Sul Yang felt that his face was covered with a layer of softness, elasticity, and a proud milky scent. This is a face wash head-on? Sul Yang was stunned for a moment, and quickly caught the delicate body in front of him. When he looked at it, he was a little surprised. Senior Jingmeng. At this moment, Jingmeng's clothes were already torn. From the broken parts, many delicate and smooth parts could still be seen. Combined with Jingmeng's cold and arrogant feeling, a strange sense of charm filled the air. But at this moment, Jingmeng was a little confused and a little sad. Did you fail like this? Unexpectedly, he couldn't survive several moves from the eldest sister. This is obviously a disastrous defeat, right? Is the swordsmanship that I have always been quite proud of and admired so vulnerable? Or, what the eldest sister said is correct. At this moment, Jingmeng felt quite frustrated. Do you want to try the so-called love like a big sister? Vaguely, such an idea appeared in Jingmeng's mind. Volume 1 Hashtag Chapter 392 The Simulation of the Love of an Innocent Girl. After changing her clothes and resting for a while, Jingmeng thought about it and decided to try what the eldest sister said. I have already been defeated by my eldest sister. If I continue to insist on my own ideas, it will not do any good to my cultivation. Then Jingmeng immediately approached Suliang. You said you want me to fall in love with you. Facing Jingmeng's request, Suliang felt a little confused. Senior Jingmeng, what's wrong with you? Obviously I have not had much contact with Senior Jingmeng, right? Why would Senior Jingmeng want to fall in love with me? What's going on? I was serious. Jingmeng sat next to Suliang and explained her reasons in a serious manner. Sister Wanqing said before that if I continue to resist feelings, my swordsmanship is destined to fail to reach its peak. So, in order to reach the peak of swordsmanship, emotional training is necessary. Listening to Jingmeng's words, Suliang was silent. He felt something was wrong, but he couldn't say it. Can feelings be acquired through cultivation? And the feelings for the peak of swordsmanship are not pure, right? How can this be called true feelings? But Suliang didn't refute Jingmeng, he just asked, then Senior Jingmeng, why did you choose me? I only know you as a member of the opposite sex. Jingmeng said matter-of-factly. Are the selection criteria so hasty? Suliang was speechless. After sending Jingmeng away, Wanqing came to Suliang again. My good disciple, my master has something to entrust you to do. Wanqing looked at Suliang seriously. What master said is not about Senior Jingmeng, right? Suliang guessed and said. Exactly. Wanqing nodded. You should also know that during the journey of cultivation, a puppet with no emotions is not enough, but that girl Jingmeng is in this state. So, I hope that you can give her some completely different experiences, some scenery that is different from cultivation, instead of the closed emotions she has now. Emotionally blocked. Suliang couldn't help but complain, why do I feel that Senior Jingmeng is more of a natural idiot? A natural idiot? Your Binjao is a natural idiot. Wanqing sneered, do you think your fairy is as stupid as Meng Meng? This. It seems there really isn't. Suliang was speechless. Suliang had no choice but to ask Jingmeng himself. Although this request seemed a bit wrong, it was still a request from a senior. After that, my master came to entrust. This is an existence that cannot be rejected. Therefore, Suliang had no choice but to agree, and was forced to start trying to fall in love with his master's best friend. In this regard, Suliang said that he had no pressure at all. Anyway, now you have become a master and rebel disciple, and you can't stop once you start. So, since your master is just a best friend, there doesn't seem to be any need for any obstacles? Then, after learning that Suliang agreed, Jingmeng immediately came to the door, and Suliang no longer resisted. I have little experience in this area, what should we do? Jingmeng asked curiously. She was very serious about falling in love. Seriously, it's like practicing it as a method. Hearing Jingmeng's words, Suliang sighed and then began to think. He knew that he couldn't count on Jingmeng at all. She didn't know how to start. Sure enough, Jingmeng's symptoms were much worse than his girlfriend's natural dullness. I think you should first understand what liking is. Suliang said seriously, the so-called love is based on liking. If there is no such feeling, then the so-called love has no soul. Jingmeng nodded seriously. The originally cold and charming Yuji now looked at Suliang like a curious baby. So, what exactly is liking? The seriousness and curious exploration in those eyes were simply beyond words. At this moment, for some reason, Suliang always felt more like he was deceiving an innocent girl. Shaking his head and getting rid of all the inexplicable thoughts in his mind, Suliang explained, the so-called liking probably refers to a feeling. Between men and women, These two words include all the good feelings between both parties. Roughly speaking, if you like someone, you will often think of him, want to be by his side all the time, be happy because of him, and feel sad because of him. At this point, Suliang paused and asked, "If I explain it this way, you can probably understand it, right?" After hearing this, Jingmeng thought for a while. It seems that I have some ideas. Although she still didn't understand, since her best friend and Suliang liked each other, wouldn't it be nice to follow their example again? Moreover, if you think about it carefully, if you want to stay with the other person and think of him often, your eldest sister seems to agree with it very much. Well, you actually have an idea? Suliang felt a little surprised. He was already prepared that Jingmeng knew nothing about it. He didn't expect that Jingmeng could give him a surprise. "Since you understand, let's practice," Suliang asked. "Okay." Jingmeng nodded, recalling in her mind the scene when her eldest sister and Suliang got along, and then she slowly moved her body and approached Suliang. Next moment, Jingmeng sat directly on Suliang's body, holding Suliang's neck with her jade hands, and resting her little head on Suliang's chest, just like a little bird clinging to someone. If it weren't for Wanqing's sweet, happy smile on her lips, this scene would have been exactly the same as the scene where Wanqing and Suliang were making love. This moment, Suliang only felt that there was a soft and delicate body in his arms that was as plump as his master, but each had its own advantages. Blue hair covered his chest, and his legs were soft and smooth. A faint fragrance lingered on the tip of Suliang's nose. This kind of fragrance is different from that of my master, but it has its own merits and is equally attractive, making people unable to put it down. Meng, what are you doing?" Suliang asked, a little confused. They were having a good chat just now, why did they start to have intimate contact now? Isn't this a bit too unexpected? "You said it, a simulation exercise." Jingmeng blinked, her face expressionless, but her words were very cute. "Is this what you said?" While speaking, Jingmeng Jade's hand gently stroked Suliang's cheek, and then, with her cold face, she moved closer and was about to kiss him. Jingmeng felt that there was nothing wrong with her actions. After all, she had always seen her best friend and Suliang doing this, so she felt that she should do this. She had never thought that given her current relationship with Suliang, such a move was really too premature. Volume 1 Chapter 393 The Queen's Arrogance, please me. Okay, Meng, don't be like this, we haven't reached this level yet." Suliang quickly stopped him. Although Jingmeng was cool and pure, such intimate contact was still a bit too much. "Oh, okay," Jingmeng said expressionlessly, still thinking about everything Suliang explained before. Seeing Jingmeng like this, the corner of Suliang's mouth couldn't help but twitch. Asking about love in a serious manner, posting expressionlessly, being intimate, and saying such cute things. This kind of cute contrast seems pretty good. And just when the two of them were immersed in the study of love, a beautiful figure appeared happily outside the door. "Senior Brother Su, I'm here. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator." Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 413. Mu Qingqian opened the door and walked in with brisk steps. She finally found a place where she could get close to her sweetheart when Tao Yaoyao was not around, and she felt very happy. But the next moment, she was completely stunned. "Master, why are you here?" Mu Qingqian was stunned when she saw Jingmeng sitting in Suliang's arms, still looking up for a kiss. Master Jingmeng was stunned when his disciple suddenly caught him and Suliang being intimate, but he didn't think there was any problem at all. "Originally, I was just falling in love with Suliang, studying what love meant. It wasn't something shameful, so why couldn't I let my apprentice see it? Well, Qingqian, why are you here? Jingmeng looked at her apprentice curiously. As she spoke, she unconsciously hugged Suliang tightly. The proud peak squeezed Suliang tightly, soft, yet delicate and gentle. From Jingmeng's point of view, there was nothing wrong with his current posture, but with Mu Qingqian, this was not the case at all. Show off, master must be showing off, right? The show-off apprentice can't be so close to Suliang, but she can? Hey, master, I was obviously the one who came here first, why are you doing this? Moreover, master, you are also greedy for my man? Mu Qingqian felt worried in her heart. I already have an opponent, Tao Yaoyao, and a pig teammate, Shenzi. Master, please don't cause me any trouble. There are so many competitors, and among them is my master. I am also under a lot of pressure, right? Why is it so difficult to be an apprentice? Suliang, are you at home? Ye Fei's voice rang in the courtyard, and then, before Suliang could react, Ye Fei opened the door and walked in with brisk steps. Recently, Ye Fei has been feeling very happy. After all, the last date was a success. We went to a place we liked with my sweetheart, and we even had such an intimate act with my sweetheart. It felt like everything was going in the direction she wanted, and Ye Fei felt that nothing could be better than now. Ye Fei is here. Suliang smiled and said, sit down quickly. Do you want to see me for anything? I have a rest today. I don't want to waste this rare rest time, so I want to be with you. Ye Fei's eyes sparkled, with a slight blush on her face. She mustered up her courage and said these words openly. That's it? Suliang nodded, put the teacup aside, and stood up. Why don't we go out to play? After finally having a day off, they hurried over to see him. Suliang felt that it was appropriate for him to take them out on a date, right? Moreover, in this way, I can avoid Master and Jingmeng as a matter of course. Of these two people, one has been pestering Suliang all day long and is jealous, while the other is so silly and cute. I still feel quite a headache. Hearing this, Ye Fei became slightly excited. Is this a date? Yeah. Suliang nodded. Okay, we're leaving now. Ye Fei stepped forward, hesitated for a moment, and then hugged Suliang's arm, her little head pressed tightly against Suliang's shoulder. Seeing that Suliang didn't show any objection, Ye Fei breathed a sigh of relief, and the shyness in her heart also reduced a lot. Anyway, I have already served him, and now this level of intimacy is ordinary. Moreover, I am so happy to be dating Suliang. However, before the two of them walked out of the room, Suliang suddenly felt that Ye Fei's body was frozen in place. Immediately afterwards, ah! Ye Fei screamed, subconsciously let go of Suliang's hand, and took 2 steps back. What's wrong? Suliang quickly looked back, then frowned. I saw. At this moment, the snow-white military uniform on Ye Fei's body actually shimmered slightly, and with the glimmering light like breathing, the military uniform seemed to come alive and kept twisting. From above, Suliang could feel a restless mood. How can a piece of clothing still make you anxious? This is really a bit outrageous, right? What is the origin of your clothes? Suliang couldn't help but ask, but as soon as he finished speaking, his expression became strange. I saw. As the military uniform on Ye Fei's body became restless, the clothes wrapped around Ye Fei's soft and delicate body gradually tightened. At this moment, Ye Fei's soft, proud, yet somewhat toned and powerful body appeared before her eyes. The peak is proud, the legs are slender and tight, the lower abdomen is flat, and the smooth lines can be vaguely seen, and even the slender waist is clearly visible. I have to say that Ye Fei's figure is indeed very graceful. This is not inferior to the Caoch before there were bells, okay. At the same time, Yefei seemed to have discovered something, but she couldn't move at all. She could only blush and shouted in embarrassment, "No, don't look. It's over, isn't it?" All seen by Suliang. Although he was fine, he still felt shy. "Ahem, I don't want to watch," Suliang said, covering his eyes with his hands, but his fingers were big enough to hold a sword. Fortunately, the strangeness in the military uniform only appeared for a moment, and soon returned to normal. "Call." Yefei breathed a sigh of relief and immediately took off her clothes. As a result, a soft and delicate body was perfectly displayed in front of Suliang. At this time, Yefei also realized this and froze, even forgetting to cover up. "Ahem, you continue, I'll go out first." Suliang coughed lightly like a normal person, turned around and walked out. It wasn't until the moment the door closed that the room was closed, and there was a burst of shy screams. When he came outside the room, Suliang said to the women who gathered around him, "Which of you will get some clothes for Yefei first? After she changes her clothes, you can call me again." After a while, everyone in the Su family gathered in the room again. Yefei was surrounded by everyone, clutching her faulty military uniform tightly in her hands. Her pretty face was as red as blood. Her eyes glanced at Suliang from time to time, and then quickly moved away. It's over, Suliang really saw it clearly this time. "Yefei, why are you so stupid?" "Ahem." Suliang coughed lightly, and after attracting everyone's attention, he asked, "Yefei, what on earth is going on?" Facing the business, Yefei hurriedly suppressed the shyness in her heart and thought for a moment, "My clothes are actually produced in the gap of the abyss, and the sudden change in it at this moment is undoubtedly a symbol of the change in the abyss. Perhaps something happened in the gap of the abyss. Is it the abyss again?" Suliang frowned and thought for a moment, "There are never any small things about the abyss. In order to ensure safety, I will go to the gap of the abyss to investigate." Hearing this, Qin Binjao and others also showed interest. "Mr. Lang, let's go together." Seeing this, Suliang thought for a moment and nodded slowly. After all, more people are more powerful. If there is really a problem in the abyss, Suliang really doesn't know if he can solve it on his own. Wilderness Canyon. Suliang and others were walking among them, and at the front of the team was Yefei. Ever since she came here, her clothes have shown a huge resonance, and the deeper she goes into it, the more obvious the resonance becomes. At this moment, Suliang and others went to the source of the mutation based on the resonance of this dress. After walking for a long time, finally, the resonance of this outfit reached its peak. "Be careful." Suliang turned around to remind them that they were now extremely close to the gap in the abyss where the change occurred, and there might be some danger hidden in it. But when Suliang finished speaking and looked back, he was completely stunned. "I saw. In the canyon ahead, a huge abyss crack runs across it, bottomless, deep and terrifying. On both sides of the cracks in the abyss, there are faint spatial barriers that stabilize the place. Is this where the mutation is located?" Suliang murmured softly and walked in with the girls. Next moment, as if affected by the aura of the abyss, the military uniform in Yefei's hand suddenly glowed with a bright light. And in this light, it is visible to the naked eye that the quality of this military uniform is rapidly sublimating. In just a short moment, the light disappeared, and the aura on the military uniform had actually reached the Dao level. At the same time, with a thought in Yefei's mind, the military uniform bulged and made a hunting sound, protecting her tightly. "I seem to have perfect control over this dress," Yefei said to Suliang and others. "Clothes for the Taoist level?" Suliang and others were all startled, and then they carefully observed the military uniform on Yefei, feeling a little emotional. This is an entry-level item, and it has powerful power in itself. With Yefei's current cultivation strength, even an existence one level stronger than her would never be able to harm her easily. Even Yang Kaoj on the side breathed a sigh of relief. Among all the people present, Yefei's strength is already considered to be very low, but at this moment, the cracks in the abyss are full of dangers, and Yefei may not be able to cope with them. But now that she has Dao-level clothes, she no longer has to worry too much about her safety. It's a good start. It seems that we won't encounter any big danger this time. Suliang smiled and joked, and then changed the topic. Let's continue to investigate in depth, and be careful. There are dangers in the cracks of the abyss. Hearing this, the girls all nodded, their expressions became serious, and they planned to go deeper. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womeng. Chapter 414. But right now. Boom. There was a roar, and Qin Benjao suddenly trembled and said in shock, Sulang, the time and space here are deviating. Qin Benjao now has a little bit of the power of time and space. Although she can't use it too much, Suliang absolutely trusts her perception of time and space. How is this going? Suliang asked with a frown. I don't know, and Qin Benjao shook her head with a stern expression. Sulang, with my current strength, there is no way I can interfere with this deviation in time and space. What will be the consequences if time and space deviate? Suliang asked again. Perhaps, we will be separated and sent to different areas. Qin Benjao recalled what she had learned and said firmly. The words just fell. A mirror-like space-time barrier suddenly approached quickly, swallowing Qin Benjao inside in just an instant. Benjao. Suliang hurriedly stepped forward, but just missed, but still failed to catch Qin Benjao. Before Suliang could react, several more space barriers flashed through as before, and then, Yang Kaoj and others who followed Suliang were all swallowed up. This moment, Suliang and the others were all forcibly transferred, divided, and scattered everywhere. Even Suliang was swallowed up by a barrier in the next moment. His vision went dark, and a weightless dizziness enveloped Suliang's head. But the next moment, before Suliang could become alert, the darkness in front of his eyes disappeared, leaving only a little dizziness after being teleported. After closing his eyes, taking a deep breath, and resting on the spot for a few breaths, Suliang quickly recovered. Immediately, he opened his eyes and looked around, only to find that he was in a dark space at this moment. The surrounding area was as dark as ink, and an ominous aura enveloped the entire space. Suliang tried to walk forward for a while, but still could not sense the end. Moreover, Suliang also knew very well that he was not in an illusion at this moment, and everything in front of him was real. After walking forward for some distance, the dim scenery in the space finally changed. But a huge broken mirror appeared in front of Suliang's eyes. Mirror. Suliang slowly stretched out his hand and gently touched the mirror. Next moment, the broken mirror surface changed for a while, and lights and shadows from other places actually appeared on it. But above, Suliang saw a familiar voice. It was Qin Benjao. At this moment, Qin Benjao was facing a group of ferocious and bloody abyss creatures, with a cold and pretty face, and a bright sword light surrounding Qin Benjao. Wherever the sword light passed, all the abyss creatures looked down. Immediately, before the battle was over, the picture on the mirror changed again. This time, what appeared was Yang Kaoj's figure. Like Qin Benjao, there is also a group of vicious and bloody abyss creatures in front of Yang Kaoj. Qin Benjao's moves were domineering and powerful. Between the opening and closing, a dragon's roar sounded, knocking away a group of abyssal creatures. The next moment, the screen changed again, and Qin Wanyu appeared in the screen. With a dance, all the creatures in the abyss were completely extinguished. For a while, the scenes in front of Suliang kept changing. Finally, they came together, as if they were split screens, showing the battle scenes of Qin Benjao and others. Looking carefully, everyone except Suliang was caught in the battle. Then why do I have no enemies here? Just as Suliang was confused, the space behind him fluctuated, and then, a powerful and inexplicable aura suddenly descended into the space. Suliang looked back and saw at a glance, the Queen of the Abyss with a cold face, sitting on the throne, her plump legs raised high, her arms folded in front of her chest, highlighting her majestic peaks. A seemingly boundless feeling of majesty and domineering emanates from her body, the Queen of the Abyss, unparalleled in splendor. Don't think about it, you haven't met any enemies, it's all because of me. The majestic and cold voice of the Queen of the Abyss sounded, full of charm, the space deviation is my fault. The enemies they encountered were arranged by me. The mirror in front of you is also my handiwork. In short, everything here is controlled by the Queen of the Abyss. What do you want to do? Suliang frowned slightly and asked subconsciously. I just want to do something. The Queen of the Abyss suddenly showed a charming smile, and the next moment, she extended her hand to Suliang from a distance. In an instant, Suliang seemed to be out of control, flying towards the Queen of the Abyss, and was in her hands. But the Queen of the Abyss had no intention of harming Suliang. Fixing Suliang in front of her, the Queen of the Abyss picked up Suliang's chin with her jade fingers and raised the corners of her mouth. Come, serve me and please me. Impossible. Suliang refused immediately without even thinking about it. But at this moment, on the mirror, in front of Qin Benjao and others, dozens of abyssal creatures suddenly appeared. Seeing this, Suliang's eyes suddenly widened. Good guy, are you threatening yourself? Oh, I know you will refuse. The Queen of the Abyss said, leaning on Suliang's arms. Her charming face came close to Suliang, and she attached it to his ear. She extended her fragrant tongue and rolled up the earlobe, but, you don't want your girlfriend to get hurt, right? You should understand that since I can arrange opponents for them, the number will never be a limit. If you refuse once, I will give them more opponents. Even if they are geniuses, they will never have hope of living. What do you think? At this point, the Queen of the Abyss gently held Suliang's waist and hugged her into her arms. So, you don't want your girlfriend to get hurt, so please serve me obediently. After hearing this, Suliang fell silent. While watching his wife fight, she was also being bullied by the Queen of the Abyss in front of her. To serve or not to serve, that is the question. At this moment, Suliang felt a little humiliated. Why should I serve you if you ask me to serve you? Even if you are the Queen of the Abyss, your cultivation is unfathomable, and you can kill me with a wave of your hand. Will I be threatened by you? How can it be? In other words, you threaten me with your girlfriend, otherwise, I will definitely not agree to your promise, okay? Volume 1 Chapter 394 Madam, please forgive me, I don't want this either. I have no choice but to suffer some humiliation for the sake of my wives. After taking a deep look at the Queen of the Abyss, Suliang sighed, okay, I promise you. There was no other way, as her wives were still in her hands, so she could only be forced to sacrifice her life to serve Her Majesty the Queen. You know the truth. After hearing this, the Queen of the Abyss showed a heartfelt smile and slowly put Suliang down. Leaning on the back of the throne, the Queen of the Abyss narrowed her eyes slightly. Okay, you can start. Yes. Suliang took a deep breath and raised his hand slightly, but he didn't know where to start. If it were his girlfriend, Suliang would have already started massaging her peak, but after all, this was the Queen of the Abyss, so she definitely couldn't do this. Although the Queen of the Abyss is indeed too proud of her peak, Suliang still has backbone. Not feeling Suliang's movements for a long time, the Queen of the Abyss opened her eyes and saw Suliang's hesitant look. She twisted her body and found the most suitable position before saying, I feel that my shoulders are very sore, my legs are also very sore, please come and give me a massage. Good. Suliang nodded in agreement, then walked around behind the Queen of the Abyss, placed his hands on the exposed shoulders, and began to massage her. The first thing you pick up is a touch of smoothness and delicacy. Even the best mutton fat jade cannot match the comfort of holding it in your hand at this moment. Rubbing it gently and looking down, Suliang could see the deep valley among the peaks. There was no end in sight, only the dark mystery. The most eye-catching thing is the pair of small curved horns on the head of the Queen of the Abyss. It makes people want to hold it in their hands and use it as a steering wheel. Thinking about that picture is very exciting. From where Suliang was standing now, he could still see the pair of small wings around the Queen of the Abyss's waist clinging to her body, with the small heart-shaped tail at the top swinging around, sweeping over Suliang's body from time to time. It just feels like it's very suitable to hold in your hand when using the shooting technique of attacking from behind. It must be a feeling of opening the door to a new world. To gallop a horse, you still need the reins. These things on the Queen of the Abyss that are completely different from humans are so practical that when massaging, Suliang often ignores the softness in his hands and wants to hold them in his hands. There is no way, this kind of inhuman charming feeling is difficult to resist, okay. If possible, who wouldn't want to open the door to a new world? After finally massaging his shoulders, Suliang stopped himself in time and moved his hand downwards from behind the Queen of the Abyss to the front. Squatting down, Suliang placed his hands on the Queen of the Abyss's beautiful black legs and began to beat them gently. The beautiful legs are plump and soft. Every time you hit them, you can feel the softness like cotton and the surging waves. However, due to the restraint of black silk, this plumpness is added with a bit of firmness, and the smooth texture unique to stockings makes this beauty even stronger. It can only be said that this pair of beautiful legs alone can last 10 years. After massaging for a long time, Suliang's hand finally stopped deep in the beautiful legs. He stood up. Suliang looked at the picture on his face and breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, this Queen of the Abyss is very trustworthy. As expected, as long as she serves her well, she will not embarrass her girlfriend. Then, he asked, "What else do you need me to do?" "Let me think about it." The Queen of the Abyss squinted her eyes slightly, and there was still a hint of blush on her charming face. She enjoyed the massage just now. After thinking for a moment, the Queen of the Abyss waved her hand, and a table appeared beside her, and fresh fruits were placed on the table. "Come, come, and feed me." The Queen of the Abyss opened her mouth slightly, as if she was waiting to be fed. "Okay, okay." Suliang said helplessly, picked up a grape, carefully peeled off the outer skin, and then handed the grape to the Queen of the Abyss mouth. Ouch! The Queen of the Abyss swallowed the grapes in one gulp, along with Suliang's fingers. After a moment of softness, he came closer. Hiss. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womang. Chapter 415. Suliang quickly retracted his hand and was silent for a moment before picking up the fruit and feeding it. But this time, Suliang was much more careful. "There's nothing I can do, this Queen of the Abyss is really good at sneak attacks. If I'm not careful, I won't be able to do it at all." But the Queen of the Abyss seemed not to care. She leaned back on the chair with a contented look on her face. Her beautiful legs in black silk stockings were folded together, making her plump and plump. She was enjoying Suliang's feeding. After a long time, the Queen of the Abyss finally spoke, "Okay, you can stop." As she said that, the Queen of the Abyss suddenly stood up and approached Suliang. "I am very satisfied with your service. You can go. Call." Suliang let out a sigh of relief, it was finally over. But the next moment, he heard the Queen of the Abyss say, "However, in order to reward your service, I have to serve you before leaving." Hearing this, Suliang was stunned. "I think, it still won't work, right?" "No, it must be." As the Queen of the Abyss spoke, her charming face suddenly turned red, her charming eyes were silky, her brows were full of spring, and her fragrant tongue licked her red lips. At this moment, the Queen of the Abyss was so charming that she was almost unstoppable. The jade hand stretched out and gently pushed Suliang's chest. Moment. Suliang fell onto the throne. Then, the Queen of the Abyss leaned over and kissed Suliang gently, and then, all the way down, she opened her red lips and acknowledged Suliang's future with her own lips. At this moment, even if Suliang wanted to keep his face expressionless, there would inevitably be a slight fluctuation in his face. There is no way, the Queen of the Abyss is so good at it, she can't stand the lotus flower tongue, can she? But in fact, Suliang refused to serve the Queen of the Abyss. But there was no way, his body kept arousing, and he was completely forced to sit on the throne, unable to move or struggle at all. Yes, all of this is because of the Queen of the Abyss. The Queen of the Abyss must have controlled me. Sitting on the throne, Suliang looked at the mirror. The battle between the ladies had reached its most tense moment. Everyone was in danger, as if they would be injured at any time. But what about him? But here he is enjoying the warm service of the Queen of the Abyss. This kind of differential treatment is really too big. But, Madam, please forgive me, I don't want this either. Suliang felt that he was very wronged. While Suliang was going through hardships, the battle between Qin Benjiao and others had reached its most tense moment. Countless abyssal creatures rushed over in disorder in front of Qin Benjiao and others. Volume 1 Chapter 395, The defeated dogs counterattack, the twin maids are dispatched. But at the front of them, there was an extremely powerful person leading them. The cultivation level of this abyssal creature alone was no less than that of Qin Benjiao and others. But facing existences of the same level, Qin Benjiao and others have not lost yet. Even Yefei, who has the weakest cultivation level, has unparalleled powerful moves. Coupled with the protection of Taoist-level clothes, no abyssal creature can harm her at all. It can be said that although the girls were caught in a tense battle, when it came to danger, they were still far behind. Then, facing their respective enemies, the girls used their own methods, causing the entire space to become turbulent. After spending some time, the girls finally killed all their enemies. Call. Qin Benjiao breathed a sigh of relief, put away her majestic true energy, and then had time to look at the space she was in. She came here too hastily just now, and she only felt a sudden change in the space. With the power of time and space she currently controls, there is no way to intervene. When he woke up again, the enemy had already appeared in front of him. She had no time to observe her surroundings, no time to find out where her husband was, so she started a battle with a group of abyssal creatures. However, the result of this battle was still very satisfying to her. After all, there is no place to look for this kind of place where there is no danger, but where you can experiment with the power of space and time that you have just mastered. However, before she could clearly see her surroundings, the abyssal creatures in front of her suddenly turned into quicksand and slowly disappeared. Followed closely. Just something fell to the ground. Hey, after winning the battle, you even exploded the equipment? Qin Benjiao felt a little surprised. She took a few steps forward, took the exploded object in her hand, looked at it for a moment, and then her expression turned strange. In her hand was a suit of clothes. As for this outfit, except for the design of many details, in general, it is the same thing as the snow-white military uniform and stockings worn by Yefei. In other words, after fighting the monster, I also got a snow-white military uniform and stocking suit. Not just Qin Benjiao, at this moment, various styles of snow-white military uniforms and stockings appeared in front of the girls. At this moment, all the girls became confused. Why does the Abyss have this? Although Yefei's outfit also came from the gap between the Abyss, it feels strange to wear off her clothes while fighting monsters. Holding the clothes in their hands for the time being, the girls wandered around and took a closer look. Soon, they determined that nothing around them, including the clothes in their hands, was in danger. At this time, the girls' minds became more active, and a bold idea came to their minds. If this dress was worn by Mr. Hu, it would definitely look good, right? In an instant, the image of Suliang wearing a snow-white military uniform and stockings appeared in the minds of all the girls. He couldn't help it immediately and started laughing. Well, I can really try it when I go back. Thinking in their hearts, the girls put away the clothes in their hands. The next moment, there was another space transformation, and the girls gathered together again. But there is no trace of Suliang at all. Where's Suliang? Qin Benjao asked with some confusion, feeling a little worried. Isn't Lang Jun with you? Yang Kaoch said a little confused. She disappeared very early, so she didn't see where Suliang went. And just when the girls were all worried, there was another wave of space fluctuations, and Suliang's figure finally appeared. However, at this moment, Suliang's back was a little stooped, his face looked hopeless, and he felt exhausted both physically and mentally. I have to say that whether you are serving the queen or being served by the queen, it requires a lot of mental energy. Seeing Suliang, the girls hurriedly gathered around and checked Suliang's body. How are you, Mr. Lang? Are you in any danger? Are you injured? All the girls asked worriedly. Don't worry, I'm fine. Suliang forced a smile and said, let's go back. After hearing this, the girls felt relieved. But then, Qin Benjao sniffed with her little nose and looked at Suliang suspiciously. Suliang, where did you go just now? Why do you smell so good on your body? This sentence was simply a question from the soul, and it directly gave Suliang a soul-draining blow. Benjao, do you really want me to tell you the truth about the defilement of the Queen of the Abyss? Say goodbye, I'm afraid you won't be able to bear it. And, although I enjoyed it a lot, I was also very sad. Okay. It's okay, no problem. Unable to bear to tell the truth about how he had been tainted, Suliang had no choice but to make an excuse. After you all disappeared, I looked for you everywhere, and by accident, I strayed into the flowers. The smell on my body must have been picked up at that time. Indeed, I fell into a flower in every sense of the word. So that's it? The girls felt relieved. Everyone moved very fast, flying all the way, and soon returned to Shengjing. As soon as he got home, Suliang returned to his room to rest on the grounds that he wanted to take a rest. The girls didn't stop them, they looked at each other, and after chatting for a while, they returned to their respective rooms. After all, I just got nice new clothes, so of course I have to show my husband my prize. Then, the girls all changed into snow-white military uniforms of different styles and walked towards Suliang's room. But when everyone arrived at the door of Suliang Fang, they were all stunned. They actually crashed. Sister Ying, it turns out you got one too. Yes, what a coincidence. Hey, do you have one too, Queen Mother? It seems that everyone got it. There was silence for a moment, and the girls felt a little embarrassed. It didn't matter that they all got the same prize, but when they came to show off, they even crashed. What's going on? At this time, Qin Benjao suggested, why don't we all go in together and let Mr. Lang judge? After hearing this, the girls looked at each other and agreed, okay. Immediately, we walked in together. In the room, Suliang, who had just rested, was stunned when facing the girls wearing different styles of snow-white military uniforms. The snow-white military uniforms have different styles, and each of the women has their own unique features, but they are extremely consistent with their personal temperament. Qin Benjao becomes more and more pure and ethereal, like a fairy. Yang Kaoj is majestic and elegant. Qin Wanyu is graceful, charming, and alluring. How should I evaluate this? They are all my daughters, and they are all very good looking. I can't say who is the best or who is not, right? Then there shouldn't be a fight. Rubbing his eyebrows, Suliang felt a little dizzy facing the expectations of the girls. Everyone in the family has noticed that Wanqing has become more domineering and clingy recently. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womeng. Chapter 416. Especially Qin Binjiao and other girls feel this deeply. After all, Wanqing clings to her husband. Sister Wanqing becomes overbearing and doesn't give her a chance to get in touch with her husband. She hasn't been able to date her husband for a long time, so please forgive her. On this morning, Suliang was practicing swordsmanship in the courtyard. For a moment, the courtyard was filled with sword light and sword intent soaring into the sky. Just in terms of swordsmanship, Suliang was already extremely powerful at this moment. Not to mention the younger generation, even those at the elder level of the Shang zone who have practiced swordsmanship for many years may not have the profound artistic conception and exquisite swordsmanship of Suliang's swordsmanship. After a set of swordsmanship was performed, Qin Binjiao couldn't help but applaud and praise, Suliang is so powerful. Call. Suliang took a long breath, sheathed his sword, shook his head and said with a smile, "It's just a step-by-step practice." Hee, that's also very powerful. I also practice step by step, but my swordsmanship is not as good as Suliang's. Qin Binjiao chuckled, walked straight to Suliang, hugged Suliang's arm. "Suliang, how about we go out to play together? I haven't gone out with Suliang for many days." "Okay." Suliang smiled and nodded. Since he had nothing to do, he went on a date with his girlfriend, which was also very good. Let's go, let's go." Qin Binjiao immediately became excited and pulled Suliang to go out. "I know there is a fun place in Shengjing. I will take Suliang there." However, before the two of them could reach the door, Wanqing's figure appeared. "Where are you two going?" Wanqing said expressionlessly, and there was a faint sense of extremely powerful majesty oppressing her. "Sister Wanqing, I want to take Suliang out to play." Qin Binjiao shrank her neck unconsciously and said weakly, Wanqing's power was really too strong. Just standing in front of Wanqing, she felt that she was weaker and could not be strong at all. "His training has not been completed yet. Where are you taking him?" Wanqing glared at Qin Binjiao, picked up Suliang and walked back. "Come on, good disciple, follow me back. I will supervise your practice." Then, Qin Binjiao could only watch the two of them walk into the room miserably and close the door. In an instant, Qin Binjiao pursed her lips. How could she not know that Wanqing took away her husband under the pretext of supervising training? What does this mean? I also want to be with Lang Jun. Why do you snatch her away so forcefully? In the afternoon, the scene seemed to reappear. After lunch, Yang Kaoj smiled and said to Suliang, "Lang Jun, let's go out of the city together. There is a Qinghu lake outside the city. It's a crowded time now. Let's go boating and visit the park together." "Okay." Suliang nodded and pressed his waist vaguely. The master is really too overbearing, working non-stop day and night. I just worked all night last night and picked up this morning. It feels a bit overwhelming. It just so happens that I can take advantage of this opportunity to avoid master for a while. It's not that Suliang is tired of Wanqing, it's just that Suliang feels that he must give himself a holiday. An iron pestle can be ground into a needle, isn't it? It's really time to take a rest. So, after the two of them agreed, they went back to prepare and plan to go out for fun. But when Yang Kaoj came to the door, he was shocked to find that Wanqing was already in Suliang's room. "Kaoj, go and play by yourself. Suliang still has to practice and can't accompany you," Wanqing said and closed the door directly. At this moment, Yang Kaoj was stunned. I just made an appointment with my husband to go out, why did you cut off my beard? It's not reasonable anymore? Do you know that one comes on a first come, first served basis? Night. Chin Benjeo and Yang Kaoj sat together, relatively speechless. It was the same day, and they both wanted to take Lang Jun on a date, but at the same time, Lang Jun was taken away by Wan Cheng. How could the meeting of two completely defeated dogs be so tragic? Sister Wanking is going too far. Chin Benjeo was furious. I was already going to take Sulang out on a date in the morning, but Sister Wan Qing just snatched Sulang away. I also wanted to go to the park with my husband in the afternoon, but I was stopped by Sister Wan Qing. Yang Kaoj also said angrily, Sister Wan Qing is really too bullying. That's right. Chin Benjeo stood up suddenly, looking indignant, Sister Ying, we can't let Sister Wan Qing go anymore. If this continues, we're afraid it will be difficult for us to see Sulang again. Only one of us may not be a match for Sister Wan Qing, but as long as the two of us join forces, even Sister Wan Qing will definitely be defeated. Yes, that's it. Yang Kaoj also stood up and took Chin Benjeo's hand. Benjeo, let's fight back together. So, in a few words, the two sisters reached a consensus. Early the next morning, as soon as Sulyang got up, the door to the room was pushed open. Then, Chin Benjeo and Yang Kaoj walked in, both wearing maid outfits. The maid's body dressing made the two people's proud peaks stand out in varying degrees. Between the tight waists, the flat abdomen and slender waists were clearly visible. Under the slightly raised skirt, Chin Benjeo's slender legs are wrapped in white silk, which is exquisite, elegant, pure, and moving. Yang Kaoj, on the other hand, was wearing black silk stockings, which added a bit of charm and elegance to her. Sister maid? Good guy, I saw such a scene so early in the morning. Isn't it too exciting? Sulyang almost gasped and almost thought he hadn't woken up in the morning. Master, are you awake? Chin Benjeo and Yang Kaoj said in unison, with sweet smiles on their faces. Immediately, the two sisters came forward together, Master, please let us serve you. With that said, one person tidied the bed, and the other picked up Sulyang's clothes, ran his delicate hands across his body, and gently dressed Sulyang. And immediately after, Chin Benjeo sat directly in Sulyang's arms, put her little head on Sulyang's shoulder, and said softly, Master, please let Benjeo give you a massage. After saying that, he hugged Sulyang, squeezing Ao Renfen tightly and moving back and forth. This soft and smooth feeling instantly stimulated Sulyang. I can't stand it, I really can't stand it. At this time, Yang Kaoj knelt down behind Sulyang and hugged Sulyang as well. He put his little head on Sulyang's other shoulder and smiled softly, Master, please let me give you a massage. As he spoke, the proud peak that far exceeded Chin Benjeo moved, bringing a softer and smoother feeling. His Volume 1 Chapter 396, Measuring the Body, the Goddess Suffered Disaster. At this time, Sulyang felt completely unable to bear it. To be honest, my girlfriend is a little too good with His Majesty, right? Who can withstand this? But at this moment, boom! The door was suddenly opened, and Wan Qing appeared at the door with a stern face. What are you two doing? I arrived a little late, and Master was entangled by two vixens. How unreasonable! Didn't Sister Wanking see it? We are serving Sulang. Chin Benjeo showed a faint smile and sat back next to Sulyang, but she hugged Sulyang and refused to let go. The same goes for Yang Kaoj behind him. The two sisters, one on the left and one on the right, sandwiched Sulyang in the middle, unable to move. See this? Wan Qing's face became darker. Nonsense, Sulyang still has to practice, how can he have the time to enjoy it with you here? Sister Wan Qing said it's cultivation, so of course it's cultivation, and we don't dare to refute it. Yang Kaoj looked weak, but he had no intention of letting go of Sul Yang. But even if you are practicing, Lang Jun should have time to rest. Sister Wanqing has been occupying Lang Jun. How should I do it? Am I occupying him? Wanqing immediately denied it. Although it was indeed the case, she couldn't just admit it. I did it for his own good. He should practice cultivation now. Yes, yes, Sister Wanqing said, everything is right. Qin Benjiao said to Wanqing without the slightest fear, but Lang Jun still has the final say on who to be with. How about this? Let's let Lang Jun judge who is better to be with. How about that? After hearing this, Wanqing thought for a moment and became confident. Okay, let's do this. She didn't believe that Master would choose someone else. Was it because she wasn't serving Master well enough, or was she not harmonizing enough with Masters Yin and Yang? Master must understand. Moreover, she had been forcibly occupying Sul Yang. Although she found a reason every time, everyone knew the truth. If I continue to be tough and let Qin Benjiao and Yang Kaoj talk about this matter, I am afraid that I will be a little embarrassed. Then the pressure came to Sul Yang. Sulang, you choose who you want to be with. Yang Kaoj smiled sweetly, hugged Sul Yang tightly, and let Sul Yang's arm sink into his peak. Lang Jun, Benjiao, and I will support your choice. Yang Kaoj also smiled softly and hugged Sul Yang's arm tightly. In front of Sul Yang, Wanqing held her head high and said with a cold face, my good disciple, you will definitely make a good choice, right? With his master on one side and his maid sisters on the other, it was reasonable for Sul Yang to make a decision. After all, no matter who you choose, the other side will definitely be unhappy in the end. So, in this situation, Sul Yang decided to stay true to his instincts. I choose Benjiao and Kaoj. Sul Yang put his arms around the waists of Qin Benjiao and Yang Kaoj, and took the two women back slightly. I am really worried that Master will suddenly take action. Hearing this, Qin Benjiao and Yang Kaoj both laughed happily. Approaching Sul Yang, the two of them kissed Sul Yang gently on the cheek, and happily rested their little heads on Sul Yang's chest. Thank you, Master, for choosing us. On the other side, Wanqing took 2 steps back unconsciously, biting her lip, feeling a sense of frustration in her heart. How could it be possible? Master didn't choose me. How could this be possible? My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womeng. Chapter 417. Me, did I lose like this? Master, why don't you choose me? In the courtyard, Sul Yang, Qin Benjiao, Jing Meng, and others were sitting together, but Mu Qingqian was the only one missing. Speaking of which, Qingqian's birthday seems to be coming soon. As a master, I used to celebrate her birthdays often, but in recent years, it has become less frequent. Even she herself may not care. Jingmeng sat next to Sul Yang and said lightly, "Oh, it's Qingqian's birthday." Sul Yang raised his eyebrows. How about we help Qingqian celebrate? Hearing this, all the girls became excited. Okay, let's help Qingqian prepare in advance. It's the happiest time for everyone to eat, drink and play together during birthdays or whatever. At this moment, Mu Qingqian came over and looked at everyone curiously. What are you talking about? It looks like everyone is very happy. Do you remember any important dates recently? Sul Yang asked. Recently? No. Mu Qingqian recalled it, but had no impression. In fact, Mu Qingqian himself didn't care much about birthdays or anything like that, so naturally he wouldn't think about it. Silly girl, your birthday is coming soon, don't you even remember it? Sul Yang shook his head and laughed. Birthday? Mine. Mu Qingqian blinked, thought carefully for a long time, and then said hesitantly, it seems, that this is indeed the case. Everyone was dumbfounded and laughed. Mu Qingqian occasionally had cute moments. Standing up, Suliang said with a smile, "Okay, since the time is coming, let's prepare in advance and prepare for the celebration when the time comes. I'll go out and buy some things first." After saying that, Suliang walked out of the mansion directly. At this time, Qin Benjio also stood up, walked to Mu Qingqian, took Mu Qingqian's hand. "Come on, Qingqian, let's prepare new clothes for you. You don't have to go to so much trouble, right?" Mu Qingqian hesitated. "Oh, let's do it ourselves. My design is great." Qin Benjio smiled and waved, looking like a big sister. "Let's go in first, let's measure Qingqian's figure, and make her own clothes." The step of measuring clothes is still indispensable. So, everyone followed Qin Benjio and walked into the room. Then, the next moment, Qin Benjio untied Mu Qingqian's waistband. "Ah!" Mu Qingqian was startled. "Benjio, what are you doing?" "I'm going to measure it for you. Since it's a measurement, it's natural to get the most accurate data. How can it be done through clothes?" Qin Benjio said seriously, then she put her hands straight into it and circled it with a tape measure. "Hiss, Qingqian, you usually can't see anything, but I didn't expect that you have such a good figure." Qin Benjio looked at the data on the tape measure in her hand and measured the size herself, feeling a little surprised. "Really?" Yang Kaoj also became interested, and hurriedly stepped forward and grasped it with both hands without hesitation. Then, he was also stunned and said, it is indeed very good. From the outside, it looks like the size of Benjio, but if you look closely, measure it, it seems like you are almost catching up with the Queen Mother." "Well, is it so magical?" Qin Wanyu was also very interested. She came forward to measure it with her own hands and nodded. Volume 1 Chapter 397, The Goddess Birthday Battle. "Indeed, Qingqian, you have such a good condition, why do you have to hide it? It's such a pity, right?" Just as he let go, Wan Qing pounced from behind, hugged Mu Qingqian, and held it in his hand. "Well, Qingqian is pretty good, and she has the demeanor of your master." "Oh, sisters, stop talking." Mu Qingqian had never seen such a battle before. She quickly held her clothes and backed away. Her pretty face turned red to her ears, and she was extremely embarrassed. "You guys, how could you do this? Isn't this too much?" Time passed, and soon it was Mu Qingqian's birthday. Although Mu Qingqian already knew that she was going to celebrate her birthday, the girls still wanted to give Mu Qingqian some surprises. So, early in the morning, Suliang was pushed out of the door by Qin Benjio. "Oh, Lang Jun, just take Qingqian out for a walk, you will come back when we are ready." "But why me?" Suliang blinked, a little confused. "What exactly is my girlfriend thinking? Qingqian's feelings are already so obvious. My girlfriend can't help but see it. But now that she saw it, why did she still have to let herself accompany Qingqian? Could it be?" The story about his girlfriend helping him win Kaoj and Qin Wanyu came to mind, and Suliang helplessly held his forehead. Will his girlfriend want to help him again? But Suliang couldn't ask this himself. "We still have to prepare." "Of course, Suliang, you are going." Qin Benjio put her hands on her hips and felt confident. Okay, I'll go." Suliang shook his head helplessly, found Mu Qingqian, and said with a smile, "Qingqian, are you free? Why don't we go out for a walk?" Hearing this, Mu Qingqian said with some surprise, "Really? Okay, senior brother Su, wait a moment, I'll clean up a little, and we'll go out right away." In less than a moment, the two of them left the mansion side by side. Looking at the two people's backs, Qin Benjio hurriedly said, "There is not much time, sisters, let's move faster." The girls responded one after another and moved quickly. In less than a moment, the entire mansion was decorated. The entire mansion was decorated festively and luxuriously, and a large cake was hidden in the room, waiting for Mukinkian's return. In the open space of the courtyard, Qin Binjao and others surrounded a place that could be used for celebration performances after eating cake. It can be said that the girls were extremely attentive to this birthday party. Less than a moment after everyone had finished packing, Suliang and Mu Qingqian finally returned. Stepping into the courtyard and looking at the various decorations in the courtyard, Mu Qingqian was stunned. "Senior brother Su, this is..." As soon as he finished speaking, Qin Binjao and others jumped out from their hiding places, throwing all the flowers in their hands on Mu Qingqian's head. "Qingqian, happy birthday!" the girls shouted with smiles. Even Tao Yaoyao, who had always been at odds with Mu Qingqian, was among them. At this time, Suliang also turned around, chuckled and said, "Qingqian, happy birthday!" You guys." Mu Qingqian stammered, her heart almost overflowing with surprise. She did know that Qin Binjao and the others were going to celebrate her birthday. After all, this was all agreed in advance, but she didn't expect that Qin Binjao and the others would give her such a big surprise. This was the first time for Mu Qingqian to have such a lively and surprising birthday party. Although Master would celebrate her birthday when she was a child, Master's temper. "Well, basically I just made some delicious food, nothing else was prepared, and there were only two people, her and the Master, deserted. Even sometimes, when Master is busy, he will not remember it." Such a novel and surprising experience instantly moved Mu Qingqian. Thank you, sisters." Mu Qingqian clasped her hands in front of her chest, her eyes sparkling and her body trembling slightly. His eyes swept over the people in front of him, Qin Binjao, Ying Kaoj, Qin Wanyu, all the way to Tao Yaoyao, this which can be counted for the time being. "These people are all my friends, Mu Qingqian. It is really a blessing to have so many friends. Qingqian, come here quickly, we have prepared good things for you." Qin Binjao said, waved to Tao Yaoyao, and then pulled Mu Qingqian to wait in the yard. After a while, Tao Yaoyao was seen walking out of the room pushing a huge cake. "This is Sulang's idea. It's called a birthday cake or something. Sulang said that he must eat this on his birthday." Qin Binjao said, leading Mu Qingqian to the birthday cake, picked up the knife and fork beside it, and handed it to Mu Qingqian's hands. "Here, Qingqian, let's cut the cake." Tao Yaoyao gestured at the side. "When we were making cakes before, we had already divided them up. Each of us was responsible for an area. The taste in each area was different, so that there would be surprises. Mu Qingqian, you must be careful when cutting. Don't make the wrong cut." With that said, Tao Yaoyao drew a few lines on the cake. After hearing this, Mu Qing glanced sideways at Tao Yaoyao and waved his hand casually, the sword in his hand shining brightly. Immediately afterwards, the cake was cut into uniform pieces along the areas divided by Tao Yaoyao. Just kidding, Mu Qingqian is a master, and his swordsmanship is also very good. How could he not even be able to cut a small cake? Throwing the knife aside, Mu Qing smiled slightly and said, "Sisters, let's do it." "Wait." Tao Yaoyao stopped Mu Qingqian, with an inexplicable smile on her face. "By the way, there's something I forgot to tell you. There is a piece of this cake with a dark dish. That thing doesn't necessarily taste good. If you eat it, tisk tisk. How about, let's see who has the worst luck." Seeing Tao Yaoyao with a narrow smile on her face, Suliang and others were stunned for a moment, and then they couldn't laugh or cry. This girl, she still remembers pranks at this time. Death roulette cake, is it so exciting? Listening to Tao Yaoyao's words, Mu Qingqian just nodded calmly, then put a piece on the plate and ate it in one bite. Next moment, Mu Qingqian's delicate, cold, and arrogant face wrinkled up, as if she had eaten something extremely unpleasant. See this? Tao Yao Yao's eyes lit up and she immediately relaxed her vigilance. Haha, Mu Qingqian, you are indeed the unluckiest to eat the first piece. Now, you can finally eat the rest with confidence. Tao Yao Yao laughed, happily cut off a piece and stuffed it into her mouth. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womeng. Chapter 418. But then, she felt the sweet, sour, and bitter flavors in her mouth mixed together. She couldn't tell them apart, but the taste was extremely weird and exciting. She added the ingredients herself. How could she not know that she was eating the piece of dark food she put down? Tao Yao Yao vomited it out immediately and looked at Mu Qingqian in disbelief. How is it possible? Haven't you already eaten the dark dish? No. Mu Qingqian shook her head. I didn't say I ate it, how could you think so? Hearing this, Tao Yao Yao was almost angry to death. At this moment, she already understood Mu Qingqian's operation. Just now, she was clearly pretending to be eaten, pretending to be tricked, and confusing herself. I didn't expect that Mu Qingqian was very good at disguising. Tao Yao Yao was completely toyed with by Mu Qingqian. Seeing Tao Yao Yao struggling to swallow the little bit in her mouth, Mu Qingqian smiled slightly and said, Tao Yao Yao, you made this piece yourself and chose it yourself, so you must do it all, just eat it, you know. With that said, Mu Qingqian picked up the piece of cake and said, Here, do you want to eat it yourself, or should I feed it to you? I think it's better not to give it up. Tao Yao Yao was a little hesitant. It was precisely because she made it herself that she knew how ruthless she was. This thing was not meant for human consumption at all. Moreover, she had tasted it just now, and the taste was indeed hard to describe. However, looking at Mu Qingqian's determined look, she also knew that there was no way she could escape, so she could only look at Suliang aggrievedly. But I didn't expect it. Suliang also smiled lightly. Yao Yao, Qingqian is right. Since it was your choice, you must finish it yourself. Brother Suliang, how could you do this? Tao Yao Yao looked at Suliang with a bitter face. Finally, out of desperation, she had no choice but to take the remaining half of the piece from Tao Yao Yao's hand. Okay, I'll eat it. Isn't it okay if I eat it? I could only close my eyes, with tears in my eyes, and stuff all the cake into my mouth. In an instant, the various flavors in her mouth were mixed together, and the very complex feeling became much stronger in an instant, almost making Tao Yao Yao spit it out. It tastes so bad. Why did I attack so harshly at that time? Tao Yao Yao almost doubted her life. Seeing Tao Yao Yao eat all the cake in her hand, Mu Qingqian smiled and said, Okay, sisters, the only unpalatable piece is gone, let's get started. One by one, they all ate so happily that Tao Yao Yao almost cried when she saw them. Why is Mu Qingqian so good at pretending? He even deceived me. It's very uncomfortable. After eating the cake, all the girls gathered together and chatted happily. At this time, Qin Benjiao said, Qingqian, for your birthday, we have prepared many performances. Which one do you want to watch first? Are you all ready? Mu Qingqian asked, a little confused. She was already pleasantly surprised by the cake before, but she didn't expect that Qin Benjiao and others made more cakes than she imagined. Of course. Qin Benjiao nodded matter-of-factly and turned to look at Ying Kaoj and Qin Wanyu. Sister Ying, Queen Mother, how about you start first? Okay. Ying Kaoj and Qin Wanyu nodded, walked to the designated performance area, and began to prepare. After a while, Qin Wanyu sat behind the long piano, adjusted the strings, nodded to Ying Kaoj, and began to strum the strings. In an instant, joyful and festive celebration music filled everyone's ears. There seemed to be some magic in the sound of the piano, making everyone laugh unconsciously and feel extremely happy in their hearts. What followed closely was Ying Chao Ji's graceful dance. In order to match Qin Wanyu's piano music, Ying Chao Ji's dance postures are also lively and agile, with the wind blowing back into the snow, just like the natural spirits entering the world just to celebrate. The two people's piano and dance coordination instantly brought the atmosphere to the climax, making everyone watching almost unable to hold back and started dancing together. After a long time, the sound of the piano fell, the dance ended, and this unique performance of piano and dance came to an end temporarily. Thank you Sister Kaoj and Sister Wanyu for your performance. Mu Qingqian smiled happily and thanked her. Ying Kaoj and Qin Wanyu shook their heads and said with a smile, Qingqian, happy birthday. And the moment the two sat back down, Jingmeng actually stood up directly. She came in front of everyone with a smile on her face. Qingqian, as your master, I have been with you for so many years, but I haven't prepared any decent gifts for you. This time, I thought hard, and finally found one that I can give as a gift. It can be regarded as a token of my gratitude. Master, you know, my disciple never cares about this. Mu Qingqian shook her head and said. Hearing this, Jingmeng smiled and said, I didn't know what I should buy for you, so I just bought nothing and only prepared a sword dance. What do you think? Hearing this, Suliang was a little confused. Good guy, on your apprentice's birthday, why don't you just give me a sword dance? This gift is indeed very hardcore, very special, and has the style of Senior Jingmeng. After saying this, Jingmeng drew out her long sword, stood in front of everyone, and started dancing slowly. It is said to be a sword dance, but in fact, it looks more like a set of sword skills. The sword moves are sharp and dangerous, but they also have a different kind of beauty. As the sword moved, Jingmeng's long blue hair fluttered, as clear and eye-catching as ice and snow. In an instant, people felt a sense of coolness sweeping over them. In just a moment, Jingmeng stopped moving and walked back again. Thank you, Master. Mu Qingqian stepped forward and said, my disciple likes the gift that Master gave me very much. Nice. You love it? Jingmeng nodded and sat down. At this time, Qin Binjao finally found time and came forward with a box in her hand. Qingqian, these are the clothes I made for you before. The material used is not that much, so don't dislike it. Mu Qingqian took the gift in surprise. How could you dislike it? This is what you meant. Thank you, Binjao, I like it very much. Immediately afterwards, Ying Kaoj and Qin Wanyu also walked up, each holding a small box in their hands. Binjao gave you clothes, and the two of us prepared some pretty good jewelry for you. Thank you Sister Kaoj and Sister Wanyu. Mu Qingqian took the gift, put it together with Qin Binjao's clothes, and put it away carefully. Volume 1 Chapter 398 The fairy who was assisted by God, her boyfriend was pushed down. Although the things were not valuable, the thoughtfulness in them moved Mu Qingqian deeply. After everyone had given gifts, Qin Binjao encouraged Suliangdao without thinking it was a big deal. Sulang, we all gave gifts to Qingqian, but you didn't even bring any gifts. How can this be possible? Well, as punishment, how about you sacrifice yourself and dance with Qingqian? Ha! Suliang was confused and felt something was wrong. Because you didn't bring a gift, you want to send yourself as a gift? How come I feel like I am the heroine in the restricted section? But after all, Suliang really didn't bring a gift, so if he refused, he couldn't say it out loud. In the end, he had no choice but to glare at his girlfriend and said helplessly, Okay, Qingqian, would you like to dance with me? Hearing this, Mu Qingqian was overjoyed and nodded shyly, that's what I wish for. Immediately, Suliang felt that warm, soft body crashing into his arms. After bringing Mu Qingqian to the crowd, Suliang hesitated for a moment and then put the words on Mukinkian's waist. Moment. Mukinkian's body stiffened, and the feeling on her waist made her face turn red instantly and her heart beat a little faster. Don't be nervous. If you can't jump, just follow me. Suliang whispered into Mukinkian's ear, then took Mukinkian's hand and danced slowly. It was commonplace for the two of them to move around, hold hands, and hug each other. Sometimes, Suliang would even throw Muqingqian up in the air, and then the princess would hold her in his arms. During this process, Suliang felt a little emotional. I have to say, this girl Qingqian is really great. Her delicate body is soft, her peak is supple and proud, and her beautiful legs are slender and tight. When you hold her in your arms occasionally, it's simply a pleasure, right? At the same time, Muqingqian also felt a different kind of heartbeat. Unexpectedly, I had such close contact with senior brother Su. This is also great. Although she was very nervous, Muqingqian still enjoyed it and even wished that this moment could be extended for a while longer. But unfortunately, the dance ended in just 10 minutes. Slowly stopping his movements, Suliang put Muqingqian aside and said with a smile, "You danced very well. It's all thanks to senior brother Su." Muqingqian said quickly. Immediately, after Suliang left, the Holy Sun came to Muqingqian. Looking at Suliang in the distance with a complicated expression, and at Muqingqian in front of him, the Holy Sun took out a sword and said, "This is a treasure I found a long time ago. I have always wanted to give it to you, but there was no chance. Just in time, taking this opportunity, this thing can be regarded as my gift to you." "Thanks." Muqing smiled lightly and accepted the gift. But then, she looked at the Holy Sun and hesitated for a while, then said, "But, I will still keep an eye on you, and I will definitely not let you fall anymore." Hearing this, Muqingqian sighed, "How many times do you have to let me tell you this before you realize that this is not depravity? If you haven't experienced this kind of thing, you won't understand it? No, this is depravity. Look at you now, you still look like a righteous goddess." The Holy Sun glared at Muqingqian and insisted on his own idea. "Forget it, it doesn't make sense to you." Muqingqian shook her head helplessly. "What should I do if my best friend keeps trying to interfere in my relationship?" Although it was annoying, they did have good intentions, and Muqingqian didn't know how to deal with it at all. "It's a headache." After the performance, it was soon time for the dinner. In order to celebrate Mukinkian's birthday, Qin Benjeo and others showed off their skills and cooked a table full of delicacies, each with a unique and tempting fragrance. Then, the rest was all done by Suliang. Everyone sat down separately, drinking and drinking together, and they were all very happy. But in the meantime, Qin Benjeo kept pouring wine into Suliang for various reasons, and she didn't stop until Suliang felt a little dizzy. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womeng. Chapter 419. Immediately, Qin Benjeo came to Muqingqian and whispered, "Qingqian, let me ask you, do you like Suliang?" Hearing this, Muqingqian was stunned. She really didn't expect that Qin Benjeo could ask so directly, so she didn't know how she should react. After all, the person in front of me is senior brother Su's official palace, and I have indeed never received her personal consent. It's like trying to steal a friend's man. But after hesitating for a moment, Muqingqian nodded and admitted, "Yes, I do like senior brother Su, Benjeo, you." Before he finished speaking, he was interrupted by Qin Benjeo, "Okay, I won't mind anything. I have an opportunity here, do you want it?" "Benjeo, you You really don't mind? Mu Qingqian still asked a little uneasily, but then she immediately reacted, opportunity? What opportunity? Hee, I just got Sulang drunk in advance. Qin Benjao smiled like a little fox. Next, when the dinner is over, you just need to pretend to be me, put on my clothes, take Sulang back to the room, and push him down. Then, Sulang will move on his own. Is this okay? Mu Qingqian was a little confused. She always felt that Qin Benjao's method was a bit hasty. If it can be done, it can be done, just trust me. Qin Benjao promised swornly. This, okay. Mu Qingqian agreed dubiously, but then realized, no, why are you more excited than me about this matter? Oh, this is all for Sulang's safety. Qin Benjao stuck out her little tongue and acted cute. For Sulang, the more help he gives, the safer the future will be, right? Really? Mu Qingqian said suspiciously, still feeling a little unconvinced. The dinner ended soon, and Qin Benjao volunteered to help Suliang, who was already a little dizzy, back to the room, and then left quietly. Immediately, Mu Qingqian put on Qin Benjao's clothes, came to Suliang's side, and said softly, Sulang, it's time to rest. Well, okay. Suliang nodded, but he seemed to be a little drunk and made no move. See this? Mu Qingqian hesitated for a moment, then took action and pushed Suliang down on the bed. But then, Mu Qingqian was stunned. Well, I did push down senior brother Su. Then what? What to do next? Looking at Suliang's incomplete clothes, Mu Qingqian stretched out his hand, hesitating, but was unable to do so. Really, is this the right thing to do? Volume 1 # Chapter 399 Arrogant Qingqian, showing off online. Why does it feel like something is wrong? Lying slowly next to Suliang, Mu Qingqian looked at Suliang with a cute expression on his face and did not move for a long time. I haven't learned what to do at all, and I don't even know what the next step should be. What to do? Benjao finally found the opportunity for herself, but she just wasted it. Moreover, I don't know if there will be another opportunity like this. It's embarrassing now. In desperation, Mu Qingqian had no choice but to hug Suliang, slowly closed her eyes, and fell asleep. There was no way. Mu Qingqian also knew that what she was doing was not the correct operation, but she didn't know how to do the correct operation at all. What can I do? But at the same time, Suliang felt tortured. The beauty in his arms was breathing steadily, sleeping soundly, and was wearing Qin Benjao's clothes, but Suliang could tell that this was not his girlfriend at all. What does it mean to sleep with a girl who is not your girlfriend? And the baby in my arms is a bit big. Even if I hold her tightly, I can't fit it perfectly, okay. This is talent in the true sense of the word. I can't stand it at all. Curling up in Suliang's arms, Mu Qingqian felt the long-lost warmth, comfort, and happiness. This feeling was completely different from when she occasionally slept with her master. There was nothing to compare it with. After all, when you sleep with your master, you are just occupying one side, and there is no intimate behavior at all. How could it be like now, curled up in Suliang's arms, sleeping peacefully? Surrounded by this long-lost warmth and comfortable feeling of peace of mind, Mu Qingqian didn't even dream that night and fell into a deep sleep, so much so that she couldn't wake up in the morning. Well. With a soft hum, Mu Qingqian woke up from her sleep, but her eyelids felt very heavy and she didn't want to open them at all. Although she had recovered from her mental and physical exhaustion, the comfortable feeling lingering around her made her body not want to wake up at all. In this case, let's sleep a little longer, just a little while, anyway, it should be still early now. So, Mu Qingqian tightened her arms, hugged Suliang tightly, rubbed her little head in Suliang's arms, and then continued to sleep. Is this girl still staying in bed? Suliang shook his head and laughed. Normally, Mu Qingqian would get up much earlier than him. Almost while he was still sleeping with his wife in his arms, this girl had already gotten up to practice. But I didn't expect that this girl would have such a day of staying in bed. In this regard, Mu Qingqian said that there was nothing she could do. It was just that senior brother Su's arms were too comfortable and he didn't want to wake up at all. Okay. Wake up. Suliang pinched Mu Qingqian's cheek. He didn't want to disturb Mu Qingqian's sleep. He had been suffering all night, and by now, he was almost unable to bear it. Okay. The tenderness and gentleness in her arms made Gao Feng very proud. She was very soft, which was completely different from his girlfriend, but also had the elasticity of youth. Holding her in his arms like this, it was hard not to want to do something. But this girl doesn't have that kind of relationship with him at all. Suliang can't do anything at all. If it were his wife in his arms now, Suliang might have already begun to reconcile yin and yang, but that's not the case. It's very uncomfortable. If Suliang hadn't been extremely strong-willed, he might not have been able to withstand it. Well, let me sleep for a while. Mu Qingqian muttered, but after all, he had been woken up, so he could not sleep anymore. He had to open his eyes, blinked, and looked at Suliang in front of him in confusion. Senior brother Su, good morning. While talking, Mu Qing relaxed slightly, revealing more than half of her slender waist, with a flat belly, fair and smooth. Immediately, Mu Qingqian subconsciously nuzzled into Suliang's arms, feeling lazy, charming, and extremely seductive. It's getting late. Breakfast is almost gone. It's time to get up. Suliang reminded with a smile and looked at the sunlight outside. Little lazy pig, the sun is shining on your butt, why do you still want to sleep? Where can I find it? Mu Qingqiu hugged Suliang and acted coquettishly, but then he seemed to wake up and his whole body froze. Why is senior brother Su in front of me? No, it should be, last night, I slept in senior brother Su's arms. Su, senior brother Su. Mu Qingqian immediately panicked, biting her lip timidly, not daring to look at Suliang. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It was only now that she recalled what happened last night. He obviously wanted to push down senior brother Su, but he didn't know what to do, and then, he just fell asleep. Mu Qingqian, look what you have done. When did you become so bold? Moreover, you didn't seize such a good opportunity last night, what on earth did you want to do? Very angry. Well, good morning. Suliang said with a smile. I'll get up right now, senior brother Su, wait a moment. Mu Qingqian stood up in a hurry and quickly sorted the scattered clothes with her jade hands. She felt that her whole body was panicking and she didn't know what to do. This scene made Suliang helpless and funny. This girl is no longer like she was trying to push back on herself last night. After arranging the clothes, Mu Qingqian didn't dare to look at Suliang again. She just said with a blushing face, lowered her head, goodbye, senior brother Su. After that, he opened the door and walked out. It wasn't until she was far away that she breathed a sigh of relief and returned to her original appearance. But at this time, he happened to see Tao Yaoyao coming from not far away. But in fact, Tao Yaoyao did not miss the scene when Mu Qingqian left Suliang's room just now. They came out of brother Suliang's room in the early morning. Tao Yaoyao could guess what the two of them did last night without thinking. In addition, seeing Mu Qingqian looking so refreshed, Tao Yaoyao became even more unhappy. Seeing how happy you are, you must be enjoying being bullied, right? Humph, I like brother Suliang the most. Mu Qingqian, how can you, a violent woman, sleep with brother Suliang at night? How unreasonable. But in fact, She had no way of guessing that Mu Qingqian just felt that she slept well and did not do anything with Suliang at all. But just like that, Tao Yaoyao simply couldn't bear it, so she immediately stopped Mu Qingqian and asked, Mu Qingqian, how did you come out of Brother Suliang's room? Good question. Mu Qingqian raised his head slightly and started to show off, which, I tell you, from today on, Senior Brother Su is mine, and you have no chance. Hearing this, Tao Yaoyao was furious. In her opinion, Mu Qingqian's words like this had clearly confirmed her suspicion. So, the last hope in her heart was gone. Mu Qingqian, what exactly did you do? My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womeng. Chapter 420. Tao Yaoyao asked with a cold face. Of course, I did everything. Mu Qingqian showed a faint smile, deliberately pretending to have done everything, and even licked his red lips too much. Brother Suliang, it's really great. It's a pity that you will never be able to feel it. You. Tao Yaoyao was so angry that she went up and down. In order to further verify her guess, she turned into Lao Sig and drove her car professionally. She drove the car directly into the sky and started to list out the real countermeasures. Let me ask you, did you push Brother Suliang down on the bed while he was drunk? Exactly. Mu Qingqian nodded. She had indeed done this step, and there was nothing wrong with admitting it. So, next, did you pull off Brother Suliang's clothes? Tao Yaoyao stared at Mu Qingqian closely and asked through gritted teeth. This time, Mu Qingqian was confused. She didn't know what to do last night, so she didn't get to the step at all. It turns out, is this still needed? So, Mu Qingqian held her head high, nodded arrogantly, and acquiesced. You really? Tao Yaoyao gritted her teeth more and more. Are you going to keep your eloquent words? The momentum is like water and fire, attacking from both sides. The mountains are towering, with the trend of inflammation. The momentum is heavy, it is imperative, and the horse is galloping. Almost gritting her teeth to say the last words, Tao Yaoyao found that just by saying these words, she could no longer hold back her murderous intention towards Mu Qingqian. Mu Qingqian, Brother Suliang is mine, give it back to me, give it back to me. Why should you come first? What Tao Yaoyao said instantly made Mu Qingqian blush. It turns out that these things are actually going to be done later? But these are too. However, if that person is Senior Brother Su, I will be willing to do anything. Although there were mixed feelings in her heart, Mu Qingqian remained calm, nodded proudly, and said, no problem, that's what Senior Brother Su and I did. After hearing this, Tao Yaoyao collapsed completely. Now, the things she had been thinking and worrying about had finally come true. Just thinking about those images made her heart ache. Okay. Brother Suliang, why would you rather be with Mu Qingqian, a violent woman, than me? Hey, no, Brother Suliang was drunk last night. In other words, all this is the problem of Mu Qingqian, a witch. Mu Qingqian, you and I are at odds with each other. Woohoo, Mu Qingqian, you are bullying me. I want to report to the eldest sister. Then. Tao Yaoyao didn't say a word, she just left with tears in her eyes and her footsteps were very fast. But how did she know that the reason why Mu Qingqian was able to stimulate her today was entirely due to her eldest sister? After blinking, Mu Qingqian stopped caring about Tao Yaoyao, and instead walked forward even more refreshed. Although I didn't do what Tao Yaoyao said with Senior Brother Su, I was very happy to be able to attack this witch. I feel very relaxed physically and mentally. But not long after walking, the Holy Sun walked towards him. Qingqian, you. Shenzi looked at Mu Qingqian with some worry. Last night, she saw with her own eyes that Mu Qingqian sneaked into Suliang's room and stayed there all night. Even if she is a fool, she already knows what will happen, okay. But since it was Mu Qingqian's own choice, she had no way to snatch Mu Qingqian out at that time, so she could only watch her best friend fall into the so-called abyss. But even so, I still have to worry. Are you okay? Last night, you and Sul Yang. The Holy Sun said worriedly. Well, that's right, I have pushed down senior brother Su. Mu Qingqian raised her head and arrogantly repeated what Tao Yaoyao said. Last night, I pushed senior brother Su down, pulled senior brother Su's clothes, and then Jin Maoyuyan attacked from both sides. Yeah, the mountains are rising, I'm following the trend, I'm doing it all. After saying that, Mu Qingqian put her hands on her hips, looking proud. I couldn't help it. I clearly wanted to do the reverse calculation last night, but because I didn't know how to do it, I just slept. You must not say such embarrassing things. You really. The Holy Sun looked at his best friend with complicated emotions. Humph, it's a rare opportunity, so I must seize it. Mu Qingqian pretended to be very skillful. Oh, sooner or later you will have this experience with your sweetheart. I tell you, if you have the chance, you must seize it. He, senior brother Su, he is very powerful. He is indeed powerful and heavy. His. So cruel. This is the first time Qingqian has experienced such a thing. Doesn't Sul Yang know how to be compassionate to women? Qingqian, your body, doesn't hurt? The Holy Sun asked worriedly. Pain. Mu Qingqian had a silly look on her face, and she had no idea what her best friend was talking about. Why does it hurt? Moreover, does this still hurt? I don't know at all. Tao Yaoyao never said anything about it. Seeing Mu Qingqian's expression of silence, the Holy Sun fell silent. How could it not hurt? Qingqian must be afraid of worrying herself, so she didn't dare to tell herself directly. Damn it, scumbag Sul Yang, doesn't he know how to pity Qingqian at all? Huh, I can't spare you. Patting Mu Qingqian's shoulder gently, Shenzi chuckled and said, Qingqian, you should take a rest and take good care of yourself first. Then, without saying a word, he picked up his sword and went to look for Sul Yang. At this moment, Sul Yang had just finished packing, walked out of the room and stretched, but when he faced him, he saw the Holy Sun coming towards him with a murderous look. Sun. Sul Yang was startled by the appearance of the Holy Sun. What are you doing? What? The corner of the Holy Sun's mouth twitched, and he raised his sword and struck. Sul Yang, you are going too far. What are you doing? Sul Yang quickly dodged the Holy Sun's sword and looked at her innocently. I haven't offended you recently, have I? What on earth are you talking about? I have obviously never sinned against the Holy Sun, but I have always been treated like this by the Holy Sun. Either he makes sarcastic remarks, or he cuts with his sword, and he is also innocent and helpless. Humph, don't talk too much, you'll die. The Holy Sun shouted angrily and raised his sword again. This time, Sul Yang could no longer dodge and captured the Holy Sun with his backhand, pinching him with his hand. Volume 1 Chapter 400 Joint Prosecution? Make it up to your husband. Sul Yang, let me go. The Holy Sun continued to struggle, her hairband torn, and her hair scattered everywhere, fresh and graceful. As she struggled, her clothes slowly tightened, highlighting her proud figure. The height is proud and straight, even comparable to Qin Wanyu's. The lower abdomen is flat, the waist is slender, and the legs are long and slender. Such a royal sister and son are really beautiful. The two struggled and fought, and the commotion they gradually caused also alarmed the girls. The girls came over after hearing the news, and they all looked at the two people in confusion. Ahem, I didn't. Sul Yang hurriedly wanted to explain, but unexpectedly, he was interrupted by the Holy Sun in the middle of his words. Scumbag Sul Yang, what did you do to Qingqian last night? Jingkaoyuyan, right? The mountains are towering, right? Follow the trend, right? The power is strong, right? It's just taking advantage of Qingqian, but you don't even know any pity. You scumbag, don't you care about Qingqian's body? After hearing this, everyone's eyes on Suliang suddenly changed. Those gazes seemed to silently say the word beast. At this time, the silence was louder than the sound, and it pierced Suliang deeply. Don't get me wrong, I didn't do anything. Suliang hurriedly explained. This time, the eyes of the girls changed again. You've done everything but don't admit it? Or maybe, a stunning woman like Qingqian wants to be by your side regardless of her reputation, but you haven't done anything yet? Worse than a beast. Seeing this, Suliang almost wanted to vomit blood. I can't stay in this house any longer. Everyone's gaze hurt Suliang deeply, but Suliang had no choice but to do anything. Is it a beast or worse than a beast? Suliang said that I still want to be a good person, but you won't give me a chance at all. Obviously he just passively let Qingqian hug him and fell asleep, so why did he become like this? Suliang said he was confused. Then, Suliang had no choice but to go back to his room and doubt life alone. Before leaving, the holy sun even glared at Suliang fiercely. Looking at her appearance, it was obvious that she didn't feel that the matter was over. What can Suliang do? Suliang doesn't know how he offended her at all. As Suliang left, all the girls also dispersed, but for some reason, when the girls left, their expressions actually looked a bit excited. It seemed like there was some chance. Really? Less than a moment later, taking advantage of the fact that no one was in the courtyard, Qin Wanyu decisively began to steal the house quietly. Husband, are you still in the room? Qin Wanyu quietly came to Suliang's door and gently knocked on the door. No, I'm not here.